10 Scandals that rocked America's first ladies. The first ladies of the United States have often found themselves in the public eye, subject to scrutiny and criticism, which sometimes escalated into full-blown scandals. These women were not merely bystanders to their husbands' presidencies but often became the focal points of rumors and accusations that could make or break their reputations. In this video, we explore some of the most shocking and controversial moments from the lives of America's first ladies. Number 1. Rachel Jackson faced bigamy allegations. Rachel Jackson, though she never officially served as First Lady, was at the center of a scandal that deeply impacted her husband, Andrew Jackson's, political career. Rachel's first marriage to Louis Robards was tumultuous, marred by jealousy and accusations of infidelity. Robards, suspicious of Rachel's interactions, particularly with Andrew Jackson, whom she met while he was boarding at her mother's home, eventually drove her away. Rachel fled to Natchez in Spanish Mississippi, where Andrew frequently visited her. Believing she was already divorced, Rachel married Andrew in March 1791. However, it later emerged that her divorce from Robards was not finalized until 1793, technically making Rachel an adulteress and bigamist in the eyes of the law. This scandal was resurrected during the 1828 presidential campaign when John Quincy Adams supporters used Rachel's past to attack Andrew Jackson's candidacy. Historian Antoplovich noted that the scandal had enough ammunition to kill a regiment of presidential candidates. Adams' allies labeled Rachel as immoral and unfit to be First Lady, a strategy intended to tarnish Jackson's reputation. Despite the vicious attacks, Jackson won the election, but the stress from the public scrutiny took a toll on Rachel's health. Tragically, she died just weeks after Jackson's victory and before his inauguration, leaving Jackson devastated and convinced that the attacks had hastened her death. Number 2. Mary Todd Lincoln was allegedly a spendthrift. Mary Todd Lincoln, the wife of President Abraham Lincoln, was often criticized for her mental state and extravagant spending habits, especially during the Civil War. Her reputation as a spendthrift was documented in the diaries of Senator Orville Browning, who shared accounts of Mary's behavior from those close to her. Judge David Davis, a close associate of the Lincolns, went so far as to label her a natural-born thief, accusing her of stealing White House property and running up clothing bills amounting to $2,000, a staggering sum equivalent to about $70,000 today. Her spending extended to personal luxuries, with one employee, identified as Stackpole, claiming she used federal money to buy a silver plate and embezzled funds through manipulated invoices and a fictitious servant who was paid $100 a month, around $3,500 today. Even after her time in the White House, Mary Todd's financial troubles persisted. In 1868, desperate for money, she attempted to sell her White House wardrobe under an assumed name to avoid scandal. However, when her true identity was revealed by a pair of auctioneers who convinced her to disclose it, the story leaked to the press, causing a public uproar. The auction was a failure, leaving Mary Todd humiliated and stuck with a debt of $800, around $28,000 today, to retrieve her unsold clothes. Her financial mismanagement and public scandals contributed to her enduring negative reputation. Number 3. Frances Cleveland's marriage went from scandal to a hit. Frances Folsom was just 21 years old when she married President Grover Cleveland, who was 28 years her senior and had known her since she was a child. The marriage shocked many, as it was widely assumed Cleveland would marry Frances' mother. Despite the initial scandal, the marriage quickly became a public relations success, thanks in part to the media's favorable portrayal of the couple. Newspapers like the St. Paul Daily Globe spun the relationship as a story of affection that grew over time, from Cleveland's paternal care for Frances to a genuine romantic connection. Frances became a fashion icon and a beloved First Lady, her image used in advertisements, often without her consent. What could have been a source of lasting scandal instead made Frances one of the most popular First Ladies in American history. Number 4. Florence Harding was accused of killing her husband. Florence Harding, often called the Duchess for her strong influence over her husband, President Warren G. Harding, was surrounded by controversy even after his death. In 1930, Gaston Means, a former Justice Department official, published a memoir claiming that Florence had confessed to poisoning Harding to end his suffering from numerous scandals. According to Means, Florence had no regrets about her actions. While historians generally regard this as a fabrication, the story added to the mystery and controversy surrounding her. Interestingly, another claim from Means' book, that Harding fathered an illegitimate child with his mistress Nan Britton, was later proven true, lending some credibility to his allegations, even though the poisoning story remains highly disputed. Number 5. Eleanor Roosevelt faced rumors about her relationship with a female journalist. Eleanor Roosevelt, one of the most influential first ladies in American history, had a close relationship with journalist Lorena Hickok that has sparked significant interest among historians. The two women exchanged over 3,000 letters, many of which contained highly emotional and affectionate language. Phrases like "Hick darling," "I want to put my arms around you," "I ache to hold you close" have led some historians, such as Susan Quinn, to speculate that their relationship may have been romantic, a notion that would have been scandalous in the 1930s. Eleanor herself seemed aware of the potential for gossip, writing that she cared so little what they said. However, her son, Franklin Roosevelt Jr., dismissed the rumors, arguing that the letters were simply a reflection of the effusive literary style Eleanor had adopted from English authors like Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters. He insisted that the relationship was not sexual but rather a deep emotional connection between two people who needed and supported each other. Historian Rhoda Lehrman also suggested that Eleanor preferred handsome young men for her romantic relationships, further complicating the narrative of her relationship with Hickok. Regardless of the true nature of their bond, the speculation surrounding their letters adds a fascinating dimension to Eleanor Roosevelt's life and legacy. Number 6. Dolly Madison was accused of selling herself for votes. Dolly Madison, the wife of James Madison, is celebrated as a national heroine for her actions during the War of 1812, particularly for saving the Declaration of Independence and ensuring the safe removal of George Washington's portrait from the White House as British forces set Washington, D.C., ablaze. However, before she earned this national acclaim, Dolly faced intense scrutiny and scandal in the Capitol's rumor mill. As her husband served as Thomas Jefferson's Secretary of State, Dolly was often seen at social functions, and her role was complicated by her position as Jefferson's unofficial surrogate First Lady, a title born out of necessity after the death of Jefferson's wife, Martha, in 1782. Critics, however, took this proximity to the widowed president and twisted it into something salacious, accusing Dolly of being overly familiar with Jefferson, with some even suggesting she was his mistress. This narrative gained traction in 1808 when James Madison was campaigning for the presidency. Political opponents seized on the opportunity to discredit Madison by attacking his wife. Dolly was accused of helping secure votes for her husband by allegedly seducing electors. Despite these scandalous and unsubstantiated claims, Madison won the election and became the fourth president of the United States, and Dolly went on to become one of the most beloved first ladies in American history. Number 7. Jackie Kennedy's alleged excommunication. Jackie Kennedy, unlike her husband, President John F. Kennedy, avoided major scandals until her second marriage to Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis. Her marriage faced criticism because Onassis was divorced, and as a Roman Catholic, Jackie was not supposed to marry a divorced man without an annulment of his first marriage. Cardinal Richard Cushing, a friend of Jackie, defended her against rumors that she was excommunicated for marrying Onassis. However, a Vatican spokesman confirmed that she had violated church law and was ineligible to receive communion. Despite the controversy, Jackie married Onassis and remained in the Catholic Church, receiving her last rites in 1994 before her death. Number 8. Laura Bush's teenage car crash risked becoming something bigger. Laura Bush, wife of President George W. Bush, generally stayed out of scandals during her husband's tumultuous presidency. However, a car accident from her teenage years resurfaced in 2000, raising questions. In 1963, the 17-year-old Laura Welch ran a stop sign in Midland, Texas, causing a fatal collision that killed 17-year-old Michael Douglas. Although no charges were filed, Laura described the accident as crushing in her 2010 memoir Spoken from the Heart, admitting that it weighed heavily on her conscience for years. The press largely refrained from turning the incident into a campaign issue, perhaps out of respect for her. Number 9. Melania Trump was accused of running a fake charity. In February 2022, former First Lady Melania Trump faced allegations of running a fake charity called Fostering the Future, which was supposed to help foster children access education. The New York Times reported that no such organization was registered in New York or Florida, sparking a state investigation. Melania responded by accusing the media of twisting her initiative, explaining that she was working with the donor-advised fund Bradley Impact to channel charitable donations. Despite the controversy, the allegations did not gain much traction, overshadowed by her husband's numerous legal issues. Number 10. Jill Biden allegedly cheated on her ex with Joe. The official story is that Joe Biden met Jill at a fundraiser, saw her picture, and asked her out. However, Jill's ex-husband, Bill Stevenson, claimed that Joe and Jill had an affair while she was still married to him. In a 2023 interview with Newsmax, Stevenson alleged that the affair began in March 1974, before Jill's separation from him. Jill denied these claims, calling them fictitious and aimed at promoting a book. She maintained that her relationship with Joe began only after her separation in the fall of 1974.